everyone, and welcome to Christy Franks, and I am the founding director and owner of Christy Franks Co. and Mills Franks Management. In 2011, I graduated from ICMS with a Bachelor of Business Management specialised in events. I'm so excited to be able to share this love what I do, share with you a little bit about my journey to date and why I hope to inspire you to choose the career that you love. To start us off, definition or especially that happens and takes place and creates a with someone. It makes us really shape and add to people's lives and their stories and who they are and why they do what they do. Your important narrative to tell and for mindset, and it explains why you do why you care today to share you my story and why I do what I do. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm on the Sunshine Coast. I'm a Queensland Sunshine Coast beach baby at heart. I love all things health, food, but now this wasn't always the case, nor did I always have these interests. As a kid, I really loved academics. I was the fussiest, and I was also really extremely shy. At 12 years old, I was set on being a lawyer. I really loved a good debate. I loved helping people, and I was really passionate about making a difference in the world. By 16, I'd moved out of home and I worked 3 jobs while going to school full-time so that I could attend an academic excellence school, and which paved the way for me to be able to establish a career in what I wanted to do at the time, which was interior design. It was here that I developed a really special skill set in learning how to create and be creative with people. And so what I did was I then applied for a Bachelor of Arts in Interior Design in both Sydney and in Melbourne. I then became successful in both cities, and then after year 12, I decided to defer a year and take a bit of a break just so that way I could think about what state I wanted to move to, where exactly I wanted to go, and just to make sure that what I was doing was really right for me. Sydney seems like the best option because of the array of beautiful beachy suburbs. And after my move to Manly, I became besotted by a gorgeous castle on the hill. I soon discovered that this was a university, though it, at that point, obviously didn't offer interior design courses. However, I soon learned and I was becoming really passionate in wanting to own my own business. So therefore, understanding that ICMS offers Bachelor of Business Management degrees, this seems like the perfect fit, especially with having to specialise in an area, and I decided event management would be the best option given my strength in organisation and my love to create. I remember my first day at ICMS so clearly. I was sitting in the castle on the induction day after hearing everyone's incredible stories. They had an amazing speakers lineup of some of the best industry professionals that you could think of. I remember wrapping up my O week after sitting in that castle, making some amazing friends and going, you know what, one day I'm going to manage the Olympics. I loved ICMS for all the incredible opportunities that you had to be taught by inspiring leaders in their fields, the diversity of the subjects, the real life industry training and the working experience that you got to add to your resume once you had graduated, but also the overall culture and community that had really been created and the positive environment that they had instilled from the moment that I walked through the door. This was probably the best decision I ever made. I was lucky enough to obtain a role in my industry training that allowed me to then, 6 years on, work for some of Australia's leading, most well-established hospitality groups across Sydney and London. My industry training consisted of working as an events assistant, a sales and events coordinator, and I progressed my way as a sales executive, working across a multitude of iconic venues including Taronga Zoo, Sydney Town Hall, and the Kudos Arena. From here, I then spent 2 years in London, where I discovered my passion for hospitality and creative events. I was working in iconic venues such as the British Museum, the Victoria and Albert Museum, and Kensington Palace. I was so incredibly lucky to be able to meet people like Prince William and work on brands and concepts for brands like Alexander McQueen and launching premiere parties for Cameron Mackintosh's theatre production companies like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I worked across a multitude of corporate milestone events as well, which sometimes could be a series of 8 events over 3 days, ranging anything from 100 people for a gala dinner to up to 10,000 for a family day. The diversity in everything that I was starting to experience that was continuously adding to my resume was seriously a dream come true. I then came back to Sydney and I landed my dream job as the sales executive for working for Matt Moran's portfolio of bars, pubs and restaurants, and being based in the Sydney Opera House and at the Art Gallery of New South Wales, then managing a portfolio of events of over 600 events a year. From there, I was then really lucky to be able to progress into a head office role, which then saw me working across a multitude of different experiences, managing all our different clients and stakeholders, VIP customers, and working with Matt's established brands and being able to pop them up in different places like Splendour in the Grass. It was here that I really developed a passion and a love for building relationships. I was meeting incredible people along the way. I was learning a lot about the amazing talent that we have within this industry, such as chefs, sommeliers and mixologists and producers. And I was also being introduced to a wider opportunity of working with different marketing platforms and customer services. So after 4 years with Matt Moran, it became evident to me that I wanted to work with more. I wanted to spread my wings to wider locations. I wanted to learn and be more creative so that I could give more to customers. I wanted to be exposed to other services such as AV and entertainment, accommodation and transport, health and wellbeing, and marketing agencies so that I could work with every touch point to be able to deliver an all-inclusive, really premium experience. And so now with 15 years of hospitality and event experience in end-to-end event management for Brisbane, Sydney and London's most iconic venues and well-established catering companies, I developed a specialist skill set in being able to curate an individual, highly tailored and event experiences and concepts that differ. All of this, which took me to where I am today, to want to have the desire to branch out on my own. And so in November last year, I did exactly that. I quit my job, I took the plunge, and within 6 weeks, and thank you so much to my incredible, amazing industry network, I launched my experience curation business, Christy Franks Co. This was one of the most exciting but incredibly nerve-wracking times in my life. There were certainly some really high highs, but there's also been some pretty low lows. I went through all my savings to support taking the time off that I needed to be able to work out exactly what it is that I wanted to do to really build my business and discover those opportunities. Goodbye working for really big companies and saying goodbye to IT and accounting departments, and say hello to every online tutorial that you have to work out to do things for yourself. Though during this time, I was really lucky to be able to obtain a relationship during my career for an entrepreneur that had a passion project he was wanting to evolve in the south coast of New South Wales. Together with his family and another investor, they both bought an iconic heritage-listed 17-acre estate mansion within the Jervis Bay community down on the south coast of New South Wales, with one day to have the ambition of being a leading wedding and event destination in Australia. So this was just a little bit bigger than little old me that could take on my own, and with a massive opportunity that we had to be able to segue and create something that was so beautiful and a part of heritage in the Shoalhaven community. I joined forces with my partner Dave Mills, and together we created our company Mills Franks Management by the end of December 2019. Our company Mills Franks Management is a project company that supports fellow entrepreneurs to be able to evolve their passion projects with our support of our creative leading experts in their fields. Together we work in collaboration to bring their vision to life. All of these projects that we work with lie within the hospitality, tourism and event sectors. Now our project began during a time of all the bushfires, all the floods, and with a passion to be able to support the region and really reinvigorate the community. It was here that we then put ourselves to the challenge. We then, within 8 weeks, we created our company. We travelled to New Zealand, and we also travelled all through the eastern coast of Australia to ensure that we obtained in-market research. We wrote a business plan, we created a strategy. We then established the brand identity. So Torero House, now being a 3-pillared brand that has both weddings and events, a wellness sector, and also an artisan catering hospitality brand on the property. We then pulled that all together and created an amazing launch event over a series of 3 days, which included inviting particular stakeholders, including the Mayor of the Shoalhaven, PR, media and influencers, to experience with us over the weekend a brand and a service in which we had created. And then just a mere 2 weeks later, COVID happened. Now, this is certainly an event and a pandemic that you just can't strategize for. We had then decided as a business to support our client, and we closed the business for 3 months. In this time, we spent 3 months on working with our teams to be able to ensure that our health and safety practices were at absolute highest standard. We made sure that everyone was still fortunate to be able to maintain a role within the business. That meant that we were also working on the business and not in it. So, and then to date, what we have done now is being able to open up the venue, reopen it back up to the community and start progressively making our way through in this current climate. It was and has been probably one of the most devastating times within our careers, because also during this current pandemic, we saw our events and our hospitality industry completely shut down. I saw my peers and my mentors lose their jobs and some even their entire businesses. There are calls that I was getting sometimes from anywhere between 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning of people just desperate to try and figure out what that they can do, how everyone can support each other, or just being able to try to find a new way of making a living. There were some people having to relocate back to their homes in other countries. There were some people who were having to completely shift up their lives and move back into an area where they felt most comfortable, because we were all sitting in a world of unknown. And me personally, as someone who really thrives on creating an experience and building relationships and working with people, I've probably never felt more disconnected. And I can probably say this has been one of the most challenging times, to say the least. However, whilst it's been quite devastating, it's also been one of the most eye-opening, rewarding, and inspiring, because what I also did see was this. I saw our industry step up, pivot, fall, get back up, try again, and succeed in working so hard to keep connected, innovate, and collaborating to bring our industry to life. I then learned how to become reconnected to build relationships in a very new way. Never did I imagine would I meet people on Zoom for the first time, or have the opportunity to be able to sit on a panel on amongst nationwide leading talent in an industry of weddings and events, or that Friday afternoon wines can actually happen during a house party conversation with people. It was here that it really also allowed the time to be able to sit and pause in an industry that also works really hard and fast, to be able to then have the time and sit and gather and go, what is it that I'm actually really, really passionate about? What is it that gets me out of bed every day? And what are the opportunities that our future holds? I've become so extremely proud and really honoured to be a part of this industry. And it has now become a national-wide community that I only aspire to inspire others like yourselves to be able to be part of it also. And so for me, having sat where you're sitting now, 12 years ago, starting to write the next chapter of your lives, some of my biggest advice I give you is this. So firstly, build your community. Your community is everything around you. That's networking, building relationships. Don't be nervous to put yourself out there or to attend things like networking events. Speaking from someone who used to be so incredibly shy and never wanting to put myself out there, I used to be so daunted at the thought of going to a networking event. I now see networking events as the opportunity of creating new friendships. These events that I've attended and the community that I've built along the way, I'm so incredibly proud and honoured to have these people who have worked with me in the last 10 to 15 years, of now some of which who I call friends and even my family. Our future will only be able to succeed through the power of collaboration. So don't think that you can do everything on your own. Don't think that you can be a hero. Collaborate with experts in their fields so that together you can leave lasting impressions and create experiences that will really shape people's lives. Secondly, invest in yourself. Take the time to try new things and immerse yourselves in all areas of this industry, and definitely take the time for personal development. You are in such a growing phase and you're always going to continue to grow. And now is the time where you have the opportunity to be able to try and invest in all these different areas whilst you're learning along the way with an incredible network that you have to be able to build and grow and nurture. If you try something and you don't like it, that's okay. Shift, pivot, give it a go, move on, and know that it's okay. Just put your hand up and make sure you take the risk, because the risk is definitely worth it. Number 3, know your why. The power of understanding why you do what you do is really, truly rewarding. Don't feel pressured to have it all figured out now while you're studying or even after you graduate. If I look back at myself sitting here where you are now 12 years ago, I didn't become a lawyer, I didn't become an interior designer, and I certainly haven't planned the Olympics. But most importantly, I now know what I do and I love what I do. This isn't a job for me, this is what I do for fun. I have taken my strengths and my skill sets, my passions, my likes and my interests for things like travel and hospitality, for food and wine, and I have now become a destination experience curator that amplifies the voice of incredible talent in their fields, and I work in collaboration with leading experts who we then together create an experience that then evokes an emotional response. It brings joy to people's lives and adds to their stories. And lastly but not least, share your story. Sharing your experience with others is definitely one of the most valuable things that you can do. It explains why you do what you do. It allows people to understand you more as a person and to be able to take some also other advice that they might not have experienced. And it also makes you build stronger connections and relationships with people. Most importantly, my life motto: if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. The future of events is only so positive from here. The events industry is always constantly evolving and changing. I think back to when I was sitting in that room on my O week of what I thought events were, to how they've evolved now since then, and then only am so excited for what it's going to bring to our future. This industry, our industry, it certainly isn't over. If anything, this is just a new opportunity that you have to be able to evolve your own narrative, learn and grow, and really pave the way for the future of what events can really be. Because at the end of the day, events are an experience, and experiences really shape who we are. You now have the opportunity to really make a career one memorable event and a lifetime experience. My career has only just started to begin, and it's my life experience, and it's been such an honour sitting here with you today to be able to share my story. So if you're thinking of starting a career in events, I really hope this session has either answered some questions for you or has given you some sort of direction and somewhat inspired you with any useful tips, and most importantly, to be able to lead you into a direction to choose something that you really love doing. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, or any of the finer points of the course, make sure that you head over to the Open Live Day portal that ICMS offer online. I thank you so much again for the opportunity to be able to be here with you today, and I look forward to hopefully meeting you in the near future. Thank you.